What's up, everybody? It's JT Sports and Match you guys with another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about Matthew Stafford's underrated 2019 season. Before I begin, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel because I upload NFL videos and college football videos daily. So, during the 2019 NFL season, there were a lot of interesting performances from several quarterbacks in the 2019 NFL season. I mean, we had the emergence of Lamar Jackson. We had Patrick Mahomes once again show us why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the game. And we also had a redemption story in a guy in Ryan Tannehill who ended up starting the season out as a backup behind Marcus Mariota and then ended up becoming the starting quarterback and leading the Tennessee Titans all the way to the AFC Championship game. But one of the most interesting stories of this season, in my opinion, has been Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford had a really underrated 2019 season. Throughout Matthew Stafford's career, he has been subjected to much criticism throughout his career in Detroit, most often being labeled by the national media as an overrated, average, and a quarterback who can't win the big game, putting him in the same category as other quarterbacks with similar labels like Dak Prescott and Kirk Cousins. When the 2019 season began, Matthew Stafford was putting up some of the best numbers of his whole entire NFL career. Through 8 games of the 2019 NFL season, Matthew Stafford had passed for 2,499 passing yards, throwing 19 touchdowns to only 5 interceptions, while completing 64.3% of his passes. He also had monster games against teams like the Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings, who both ended up making the playoffs. Against the Kansas City Chiefs and the Lions Week 4 matchup, he passed for 291 passing yards, 3 touchdowns, and although the Lions lost that game, it wasn't Stafford's fault as the defense failed to hold the Kansas City Chiefs offense on the last drive, allowing the Kansas City Chiefs to score. Against the Minnesota Vikings in Week 7, Matthew Stafford once again went off. He went 30 of 45 passing for 364 passing yards, had 4 passing touchdowns to only 1 interception, and a 42-30 loss against the Vikings. Now, Matthew Stafford, being labeled as a guy who never showed up in big games, isn't able to get his team over the hump. I mean, he gets a bad rep for this because in games this past season versus the Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings, those were Matthew Stafford's 2 of his best games this season. I mean, the guy showed up. I mean, against Minnesota, he was going crazy. He was 30 of 45 passing, 364 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns. And even against Kansas City. And it's really unfair that Matthew Stafford has those losses strictly pinned on him. Because when you look back at that Kansas City Chiefs game, if you go back and watch that game, it wasn't Matthew Stafford's fault. Matthew Stafford doesn't play defense. And a lot of people, they just look at the stats, they just look at the numbers, and they look at the losses, and they just say, oh, Matthew Stafford and the Detroit Lions once again failed to beat a big-time quality opponent. And a lot of people aren't really watching the games. They just look at the box score, and they just determine that Matthew Stafford is an overrated quarterback. And that's not the case. You go back and watch a lot of these games that the Detroit Lions lost when Matthew Stafford was playing. Matthew Stafford was playing out of his freaking mind. So a lot of these losses aren't really on Matthew Stafford's fault. It's really, if you had to put the blame on somebody, the head coach of Detroit Lions, Matt Patricia, for the defense allowing game-winning touchdowns and allowing to get shredded up and carved up by opposing teams' offenses. So Matthew Stafford's per-game numbers from the 2019 season were some of the highest of his pro career, as he threw for an average of 312 passing yards per game, the second highest in yards per game average of his career, behind his 2011 campaign 8 years ago. And he also, before he ended up getting injured, led the Detroit Lions to a 3-4-1 record. 3 wins, 4 losses, and 1 tie, which was to the Arizona Cardinals in their Week 1 matchup. Now, sadly, this incredible underrated season by Stafford will be overlooked as his 2019 season ended up getting cut early due to injury. Now, Matthew Stafford's 2019 season never got cut short due to that injury. He was on pace to throw for 4,998 passing yards, which would have been second in the NFL behind Jameis Winston. And he also was on pace to throw for 33 touchdowns, which would have tied him with second place in the NFL behind with Jameis Winston as well, and touchdown passes on the season. Now, the reason why I feel Matthew Stafford's 2019 season was incredibly underrated is the fact that nobody was really talking about it. Matthew Stafford, before his injury, was playing like an NFL MVP candidate. And due to his injury and the lack of success that the Detroit Lions were having this season went extremely overlooked. And in my opinion, you can criticize Matthew Stafford as much as you want, but you can't deny the fact that the 2019 NFL season was one of Stafford's finest seasons as a pro. With a better team and the organization, Matthew Stafford's 2019 season would have been raved about by the national media and all NFL fans around, because Matthew Stafford was a top 10 quarterback this season when he was playing. I mean, a lot of people deny the fact that Matthew Stafford is an elite quarterback. Some people don't even want to call him an above average quarterback. A lot of people, they just look at the box score, they just look at his stats, and they just say, hey, Matthew Stafford loses big games a lot and he never comes through. But that's not really the case. You go back and you rewatch some of those games versus the Vikings and the Kansas City Chiefs, like I said earlier, you will see that those losses weren't really Matthew Stafford's fault. It was really the poor execution on the defensive side of the football. And the last time I checked, Matthew Stafford was a quarterback. He didn't play both sides of the football. So I know being a quarterback, the quarterback gets a lot of acclaim for the success of the team, but he also gets a lot of blame for the losses and the failures of the team. And if Matthew Stafford played for an organization like the New England Patriots or somebody better, I mean, this dude could have had several Super Bowls. He could be a potential Hall of Famer right now. But at the end of the day, Matthew Stafford's 2019 NFL season, in my opinion, was really underrated. So let me know down in the comment section down below how you guys feel about Matthew Stafford's 2019 season. Make sure you guys also like the video and subscribe for more NFL videos and college football videos. And thanks for watching.